I don't know what happened. In Israel, have you been in Israel?
What's this?
It's good for you.
Well, why is it good?
Because it's the Wall Street Journal.
How is it Wall Street when it says Occupy?
I'm sorry, what?
How is it Wall Street when it says Occupy?
It's the Wall Street Journal.
Well,
The occupied Wall Street.
well, yeah, exactly. So what they're trying to achieve, I wonder. We're just having this
Educate
discussion.
people
Educate about what?
about the greed in our government and how it just ruins the world.
How does it ruin the world?
Because they use money to get more money because they're greedy, and the way they do that is starting wars, stealing oil, confining people, you know, all of that shit.
Really? So,
We have over 100 military bases around the world.
well, nothing wrong with that. But let me ask you this: if are you against the profit, against greed, against capitalism? I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah,
You're against capitalism.
why wouldn't they? What's
And-
good about it?
What better?
I'm sorry, what?
And if you against capitalism, what are you going to replace it with?
A true democracy
What is a true democracy?
where the people control the land that they live in?
How are you going to accomplish that?
I guess it's a long road, huh?
Okay, give me step 1, step 2, step 3. Give me sort of a roadmap of how to achieve that.
Well, see, we live in a democracy, but
No, we don't. We don't have a democracy.
It's supposed to be a democracy.
Do you remember what Benjamin Franklin used to say about democracy?
What do you say?
Did you go to school here?
I'm sorry, what?
You went to school here,
Oh,
right?
schools around here are horrible, dude.
Horrible. I agree. All liberal. But the point I'm trying to make is that he said that democracy is when two wolves and a lamb are voting what to have for lunch.
So what do you think we should do?
Well, we have the best system that has ever been created: constitutional republic, representative republic.
Our
It's not a democracy.
Constitution's out the window right now.
How so? Are you against the American
'Cause
Constitution?
these people, the NYPD, they can take me indefinitely without reading me any rights.
Really?
And throw me in
Really?
prison for 72 hours. That's a new law that was just signed.
what do you think will happen in a socialist country? And has there ever been a socialist country before?
I don't believe so.
So there has never been a socialist country.
Is there?
I'm asking you. I don't know. I'm happy with capitalism. You know, I'm as happy as I can be.
You're okay with NYPD using their own tow trucks and taking towing trucks out of business?
If you break the law, they follow the law. That's how it works. If there's a new law, they follow whatever the law is right now until the law is being changed. Here's an example.
You can't change the law.
Of course you can. That's what people do all the time.
We're trying.
Well, of course they do change the laws all the time. That's what the Congress is for.
Well, they just institute more laws. They don't actually. I don't think they change them. They just keep bringing more into effect.
Well, they change laws. They make new laws. Exactly. It's changing because we're changing. The system is changing. Things are changing. Technology is changing. A lot of things are changing, right? So the thing is that this gentleman, Valerie and me, we just met. We all came from USSR. Okay. And we were just talking about.
That's awesome. I'd love to live in Russia.
Really? Let me give you an example of life in USSR. In USSR, if you're walking like this, you're talking about police just grabbing you.
Yeah.
In USSR, for no reason whatsoever, they will take you away, and your relatives will never ever hear from you again. And that happens to tens of millions of people.
Why isn't that talked about?
What's that?
I've never heard of that. Why isn't that talked about?
Because this is what they like to call socialism or communism. But they use the word socialism and communism to hide the true meaning of the system, which is totalitarian regime or dictatorship.
Right.
So whenever you try this Wall Street Occupy, you know how it's going to end up? Dictatorship.
You think?
I know. And here's the reason why. Lenin in 1917 had really great slogans, just like you have great slogans. He used to say, remember, power to the people. Sounds great, right? Bread to the people. Sounds great. What other slogans were over there? Land to the peasants. So those were great slogans, right? Well, guess what? At the same time, Lenin was instituting what he himself called the Red Terror, killing thousands up to millions eventually
I've heard about
of people, innocent people, and that's the key word, innocent people without due process. So is this something that?
Beginning same slogan.
But what if the whole world kind of agreed on?
How can you talk about the whole world?
Because the whole world's doing it.
The whole world agree on something, then just three of us are standing over here and we cannot agree on certain things. Three of us. You want 7 billion people to agree on something? And if you want
What
them
if,
to...
what if it's nothing? We don't agree on nothing and it's just there. We just live.
Well, that's why every country follows its certain way. So if you look at the standard of living, if you look at the freedoms, there's no better country in the world than the United States of America. Give me another example where the system is better than the United States of America. One example.
I'm sorry, what?
Give me one example where people live better than the way we live here in this country in terms of freedoms, in terms of opportunities.
Yeah.
Canada?
Okay, well, let's assume for argument's sake. Well, let's say for argument's sake, Canada. Okay, fine. But Canada basically has the same system that we have over here,
Right.
more or less. You know, slight differences, but generally speaking, it's the same capitalist system. So you wanted to change to, you said, something different.
A true democracy, but
What is a true democracy?
it's
What is it?
when the people actually control the land. Like,
Well, we control where the
our
people
voices
who...
are actually heard.
Well, our voices are heard. I mean, there are so many TV channels. I mean, you're
So are
here.
dead people, you know?
What's that?
They use dead people for votes. You know, like
Well,
people are too.
okay, let's say for argument's sake, let's say this is happening, okay? But in dictatorship, you don't vote at all. I mean, your votes don't count at all. It doesn't matter. Look at the election in Iran, for example. Remember? Look what's happening, well, I guess, in a way, in Syria today. I mean, people are trying to vote. In the end, they get killed. Ahmadinejad got sort of elected, and innocent people were killed in the streets. So how can you say that we don't have freedoms over here when we have most opportunities and most freedoms that anyone has ever had in the history of humanity? Isn't it so? Because of the system that we have today. You want to change that?
yeah, because I think it's hiding everything and letting our system control the rest of the world.
How does our system control the rest of the world?
We have military bases.
So what?
about
Because of
every
military?
country.
Remember, do you remember what happened in
We made Israel.
Do you-
Israel's on an expansion mark where they're going to take over Iran. I mean, that's just one example.
Wait.
We took over Israel.
Okay,
we assigned the Shah. We control Israel.
Let me ask you this. Let's say you live in Buffalo, okay? And Buffalo is, is very close borders, or Rochester borders
I
Canada.
live in Rochester.
Good. So Canada is right there, okay? So imagine that in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, rockets start falling on your house from Canada. What are you gonna do?
Die?
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do if Canadians will start sending rockets to Rochester? Because they want the United States of America to be eliminated from Earth.
I think a lot of people do.
So what are you going to do? You're an American citizen. You live in Rochester. Canadians are sending rockets to Rochester. What are you going to do?
Well, send rockets back.
Exactly.
That's bad.
Exactly. So what happens in Israel?
Israel, we control Israel. We're trying to take over Iran. What do you mean? You think because bombs have been dropped
Well,
in Israel?
Israel was. Do you like the United Nations? Do you support the United Nations?
Kind of, not really. No.
Okay, kind of. I'm not the really big fan of United Nations at all, to say the least.
They don't really
but
stay true to their word.
But the point is that the United Nations was the body where the most countries, the world countries, they voted for the creation of the State of Israel. So it was a legal entity. I mean, let's forget about the fact that Israel has existed there 2,000 years back. So even what was there 3,000 years back? When Jesus Christ was over there and before, what was there? Was it called Palestine? No. Have you heard the countries such as Judea, for example, King Solomon, Mesopotamia, King Solomon, right? The Jews lived there, right? They spoke, by the way, the same language that they speak today, right? They worship the same God as they worship today, some 3,000 years ago, right? So the Jews have been living there way before anyone was called a Palestinian, correct? But let's forget about that part of history. Let's talk about the recent history. So the state of Israel was created, right? Because before it was the state of Israel, you know what was there?
Palestine?
No. No. It was the Ottoman Empire.
Oh, of course.
You know, the Turks were there.
Yeah.
So the Muslims lived over there, the Jews lived over there. Okay, so they lived together in the same land, but it all belonged to Turkey, to the Ottoman Empire, right? So after the Holocaust, after 6 million Jews were exterminated by the Nazis, the world decided that the Jews finally deserved their own place. And there was voting. You like democracy, right? So you support voting. The majority decided that the state of Israel had to be created.
I don't vote because I don't think voting
the United Nations, you say democracy is about voting.
Yeah, okay.
So is it power? So the state of Israel was created, right? The minute when Ben Gurion, the first prime minister or president of Israel, declared independence in Tel Aviv, in Dizengoff House, I visited it when I was in Israel, the rockets started falling on Israel. What was Israel to do? We're talking about the legal entity, the legal state. They created two states, the state of Palestine, the state of Israel. The Jews said, okay, we'll take it. What did the Palestinians do? They could have had their land for somewhat 70 or so years already, but they refused. And they refused because they said, you know what? We don't want Israel. We want to kill every single Jews, or they should either convert to Islam, or we'll just throw them into the sea. What were the Jews to do? There was a legally designated border, the state created by the United Nations.
I think there's a lot of shit behind that we have no idea about. But why are you rolling your eyes at me? You just told me a simple thing like...
Well, because it's just look, if you don't believe the facts, I mean, what else can I tell you? I mean, this is...
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
No, you just said, oh, there's a lot of, to quote you, shit happening that we don't know. Well, this is very simple. I mean, these are simple facts. You can go to any liberal, right, left sources, you'll get the same exact facts. The dates, when the state of Israel...
You don't feel like they were threatened when the Jews got their own state? You don't feel that they were threatened at all?
The Jews were threatened?
No. You don't feel that the Palestinians were threatened at all when Israel was created?
Who started the war? Like I said, you live in Rochester. You mind your own business, okay? This is your city. You go to school. You do whatever you do. You protest. I mean, it's your business. All of a sudden, the Canadians say, you know what? We want to take Rochester because we don't think that Rochester has the rights to exist. Right. We want to take it over. What are you going to do?
Like you said, or like I said, bomb them back.
See, that's exactly what Israel is doing. So that's what's happening over there. You know, they're saying if the Arabs didn't have the arms, there would have been peace. If the Israel didn't have the arms, there wouldn't have been Israel. Have you heard this expression?
I don't know if that would be true. I think they're just protecting something that they live on.
They protect their land just like you would protect Rochester.
Right.
So it's a normal thing. What the Israelis do, they protect themselves. When nobody attacks them, they mind their own business. That's what they do.
Why do they have the most advanced military in the world?
Because how many Israelis are there in Israel? How many people?
It's a small state.
What's that?
It's a small state.
It's a small state. How many Arabs are there? All enemies.
They're everywhere.
Exactly, all enemies. So what is Israel to do? If they didn't have that much military, they would have been destroyed. They wouldn't have existed, just like Rochester wouldn't have existed. If the whole Canada was against Rochester, not the United States, but just one Rochester, what would Rochester do? I guess beef up with military as much as it can, right? Yeah. So that's exactly what Israel is doing. Make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Okay. See, simple logic.
Right.
So we can agree on something, right?
Hey man, you taught me some things.
Okay, good. So use not just the brains, but common sense. That's my favorite expression. Common sense. say in just what, 15 minutes or so, with common sense and simple facts. I'm not getting deep whether some obscure facts. I mean, this is something that everyone knows. I mean, everyone. You know, I know, everyone in the street knows that. But just use simple logic, and then all of a sudden, you know, you think, wait a minute, it actually makes sense, right? God bless capitalism.
God bless capitalism.
Yes. This is the system that works. Okay?
Thank you. Capitalism.
Yes. Take it back. I don't need it.
Я как бы very proud of you. Очень хорошо ты дискутируешь. Молодец.